You Owe Me One Universe by Chad Lucas. Epilogue, Big Man. Brian. Rise and shine, big man. Gonna be a great day today. Dad's voice jolted me from a dream. As I woke up, my anxious brain ramped into fourth gear. Instant morning panic. If Dad's waking me, then my alarm didn't go off, which means I overslept, which means I'm running late. My face must have given away what my mind was doing. Dad ruffled my hair. Breathe, kiddo. You're skipping school today, remember? Take your time. Breakfast will be ready in 10. He grinned. Happy birthday, Brian. After he left, I gathered my bearings. I was extra groggy because Dad and I had stayed up late watching the NBA Finals. Gabe, Ty, and Ezra texted with me through the game. Ty was a die-hard LeBron James fan, and he was devastated when Golden State won again, taking a 3-0 series lead for the second year in a row. Gabe was thrilled. I checked my phone. It was after 8, so my friends were at school, and they'd messaged me already. Ezra, salutations, young whippersnapper. Ezra's birthday was 4 days ago, and our enormous age difference had been a running joke all week. Ty, happy B-Day, everything is trash, but you're the one thing worth celebrating. Poor Ty, I guess he still wasn't over Cleveland's loss. Kevin, happy birthday, Brett. Wait till you see the cake I made for tonight. It's epic. My stomach rumbled thinking about Kevin's desserts, or maybe because I smelled bacon. Victor, happy birthday, booger juice. I wrote him back, thanks, donkey breath. Exactly 2 weeks after we'd hung out in Ezra's basement, Victor had turned to me after school and said, "Time's up, I don't have to be nice to you anymore, turd bucket." I'd laughed. Now we traded ridiculous insults every day. It was one of my favorite rituals. 3 weeks ago, Miss Florman had heard Victor yell, "What's up, you cosmic outhouse?" and immediately called him into her office. I had to follow and explain that he wasn't bullying me, and I thought it was funny. She'd looked skeptical until I threw my arm around him. I know it's hard to believe, I'd said, but I've grown fond of the sentient armpit fungus colony. Victor had cracked up. That's brilliant. I wish I'd thought of it. Miss Florman had stared at us like maybe we'd both been sniffing Sharpies. That's good news, but tone it down in the hall, she said before letting us go. I couldn't blame her for being confused. If anyone told me a year ago that Victor and I would get along, I wouldn't have believed them. As I put my phone down and hopped out of bed, a flutter of anxiety kicked in again. Today was June 7th, my 14th birthday, 1 year after the worst day of my life. Dad was home, unlike last year, so that helped. Still, the flutter didn't fade until I got dressed and reached the kitchen. Dad was frying bacon and Mom was pouring hot water into the teapot. She's up, she's fine. Nothing bad is going to happen. I let out a slow breath. Mom heard. She came straight to me and wrapped her arms around me. I didn't have to explain the irrational thoughts bouncing around my head. She knew. She didn't even say anything, she just held me, and I hugged her tight. Dad slid 3 plates of bacon and buckwheat pancakes onto the table. Breakfast is served. We dug in. So far, 14 wasn't so bad. After I'd eaten, Dad took me shopping. He was working Saturday at his new construction job, so he could take today off. I said I didn't want anything big for my birthday, but my basketball shoes were getting small, and I needed a new pair for the summer. I'd made the provincial team with Ty. It felt pretty darn good. Dad cranked the stereo as we drove, and the bass rattled our chests. I was so glad to have him home, but it had been harder than I expected at first. After most of a year without him, we had to figure out how we fit together again. Dad was in the bathroom when I was trying to get ready for school. Dad was making Richie's lunch and ruining his ham sandwich. For Richie, mayo was an unforgivable sin. Dad was having whispered conversations with Mom that set me on edge, even if I couldn't hear the details. Naturally, my garbage brain worried constantly. I worried about Richie, who sulked and slammed doors and spent more time at the Sidhu's. I worried that Dad looked exhausted after long shifts, and I worried that maybe he had to work so hard because money was tight. I worried that so much change would send Mom into a bad place. With all that on my mind, I had a wicked panic attack in early May, 2 weeks after Dad came home. It hit me in school just before lunch, and I staggered outside and crawled against the wall. It was my first attack in months, and I was terrified it would send me back into the hole I'd been in over the winter. But Ezra found me and sat with me. It still sucked, but he took care of me. The next day was better, and now, well, we were all figuring it out together. Dad took me to Courtside Sneakers, this indie shop with a killer selection. Having a wall full of options was hard on my indecisive brain, but we were the first customers of the morning, and the guy behind the counter was happy to pull a bunch of pairs for me to try. They have to be durable, Dad said. He's on the provincial team. He'll be playing a lot of ball this summer. Oh yeah? The salesman looked impressed. You should see him light it up from long range, Dad crowed. He hit 7 threes in his junior high championship game. Okay, that's a little much, Dad. The guy whistled. Well, let's take care of your feet then, so you can keep that hot hand. Eventually, I settled on Nikes, a lot like the pair I'd bought last fall, only 2 sizes bigger. Dad shook his head as we left. Size 11. Slow down with all that growing, big man. Dad used to call me B-Man, but Big Man was his go-to nickname now. I liked it. He glanced at the car's clock. We've got time for a game and showers before lunch. What do you think? Sure, I said. Don't know if I'll break a sweat beating you, though. Dad howled. You grew an ego, too, huh? Don't run your mouth if you can't back it up. The park was empty except for a daycare group on the playground when we pulled up to the court. I didn't want to wreck my new shoes playing outside, so I squeezed into my old ones. We shot for a few minutes to warm up, then we played a game of 21. Dad used to let me win when I was little, then he took it easy enough that the games were close. Then he won, but he had to work for it. Today, though, my newly 14-year-old self was confident. Dad was way stronger than me, but I was quicker and as tall as him now. And my jump shot was, let's be honest, a work of art. He let me have first ball, and I immediately hit him with a crossover step-back swish. He shook his head. I did break a sweat because the game was rough. Dad bumped and jostled and knocked me on my butt once when he tried to drive past me for a layup. He winced, like maybe he'd pushed too far, but I hopped up quickly. Don't worry, I told him. I can take it. I ended up whooping him 21-12. You're probably still rusty, I said on the way home. I'm sure you'll do better next time. Dad snorted. You're so obnoxious now. I love it. He pinched my arm and I squirmed away, laughing. After we cleaned up and I'd bragged about my victory to Mom, we swung by the elementary school to pick Richie early to spring Richie early for lunch. He did a celebration shimmy as he burst through the front door, a free 5th grader. Happy birthday, he greeted me as he slid in the back seat. I can't believe Mom and Dad let you skip all day. He leaned toward the front seat. Since my birthday's in August, I should get a free skip day before school ends. Deal, Dad said. We headed to the Hungry Chili, where I consumed a mountain of hot, numbing chicken. We'd had takeout pizza to celebrate when Dad was released, but between Mom's and Dad's conflicting work schedules and everything else, this was our first time in a restaurant since he'd been home. It was all I wanted for my birthday, the 4 of us together. I took a nap when we got home because even good things could feel overwhelming. And later in the afternoon, Dad drove me to Ty's house. Parties weren't my thing, but my friends had insisted on throwing a dual Brian and Ezra birthday bash. Ezra was already there when I arrived, and he and Ty greeted me at the door. It's our boy, Ezra exclaimed. Look how much he's grown, Ty. He tried to pinch my cheek. I slapped his hand away. How'd band practice go, I asked. Mostly good, Ezra said. Caleb's still allergic to slow songs, but we're working on it. You pick a name yet? Brittany called from somewhere behind him. Not yet, Ezra said. My current favorite is Black Rainbow. Ooh, I like it. I accepted Ty's 5-step handshake to shoulder bump greeting and stepped inside. The living room was crowded already. Ty's parents and Mrs. Cleland hovered behind Gabe and Brittany, who were dressed up like movie stars. They both pulled me into a hug. Happy birthday, Gabe said in my ear. I can't believe you came here on your prom night. I took in Gabe's blue suit and gold tie, and I can't believe Brittany actually let you wear Golden State colors. Brittany gestured to her own shimmering gold pantsuit. We made a deal. He gets his Steph Curry cosplay, and I don't have to wear a dress. We need pictures, Mrs. Cleland declared. I looked down at my white t-shirt and basketball shorts. Really? Don't argue, Gabe whispered. She's gone full prom mom. It's terrifying. I'm allowed to be sentimental on my son's prom night. Mrs. Cleland snapped her fingers. Come on, all of you, let's go. Yes, ma'am, Ty saluted. He called Kevin and Colby from the kitchen. Ty's mom suggested the backyard would be more scenic, and we were parading through the yard when Victor arrived. He greeted us with a confused half-smile. What's happening? Pictures, come on. Ezra grabbed his hand, and Victor rolled with it. Some things had changed in the last 2.5 months, but change could be good. Ty and I hung out a lot now. We practiced every weekend with the provincial team, and sometimes we went out with the team afterward or chilled here at his place. He still showed up before school to shoot with me, too. Ezra didn't come as often. Victor usually got dropped off at his house, and they walked to school together. They also spent lots of time rehearsing with their band, or, in quotation marks, recording together. We'd all started saying, in quotation marks, recording, with air quotes, because we were convinced they spent half their time kissing. Ezra seemed happier than ever. Kevin and Colby were hanging out again, too. Colby and I weren't close or anything, but he was friendly enough when we were all together. And Victor, well, after we finished with photos and Gabe and Brittany headed off with Mrs. Cleland to take 1,000 more pictures in the public gardens, Gabe said with a sigh, Victor untangled from Ezra and pressed a hand into my hands. This is for you, Toad Pimple. I could tell from the shape and weight that it was a book. There was an envelope attached with my name on it and the ugliest little stick figure drawing. The eyes were enormous and the ears were lopsided. It was hideous. I loved it. You got me a present? Victor scratched his head. Don't look so shocked. It's your birthday, remember? We all got you presents, Spicy Bee, Ty said. I looked around at them, and I couldn't help but think that a year ago I didn't have any friends at all, and I was in a stranger's house, feeling lost and abandoned. I couldn't have dreamed that I'd be this happy today. I swallowed hard. This is my best birthday ever. Victor raised his eyebrows. Are you getting emotional? Ty laughed. Have you met Brian? Of course he's getting emotional. Let's eat before he starts hugging everybody. We ate burgers on the deck, and afterward Kevin brought out the cake. It had white frosting with Happy Birthday Brian and Ezra spelled out in dark orange icing. 2 cookie decorations, one shaped like a guitar and one like a basketball, stuck out of the top. I know you don't like things too sweet, so it's cardamom carrot cake with cream cheese icing, Kevin said. Colby's nose wrinkled. That sounds weird. Don't eat any then, Kevin shot back. More for us. Colby punched his shoulder. Of course I'll eat it. You know I like your spicy food, even the weird stuff, as long as it's not too spicy. So basic, Kevin muttered. Quit bickering and light it up, Ty said. Kevin lit the candles. There was some loud and dramatic singing, and Ezra and I blew out the candles together. I think we got exactly 7 each, Ezra said. Did you make a wish? I shrugged. I didn't need to. Kevin cut us each a slice and urged me to take the first bite. I sighed happily. This is perfect, Kev. It's exactly the right amount of sweet, and the cinnamon and cardamom give it a nice zing. Ezra held his slice of the orange cake beside my face, and it's a perfect match for Brian's hair. Kevin grinned. I'll call it the Spicy Bee Special. Okay, bro, let us at it already, Colby said. Kevin cut pieces for Ty's parents, then it was a frenzy. In 2 minutes, there was nothing left but crumbs. Kev, you remain a culinary genius, Ty said happily. Now we jump in the pool. Kevin stared at Ty's above-ground pool. It's only the beginning of June. Today's the first warm day all week. The water's probably freezing. Yeah, it's cold, Ty agreed, but we have to jump. It's tradition. What tradition? The tradition of Brian and Ezra's annual birthday jam? Annual? This is the first one. Exactly, but we have to establish protocol. But let's do it, Victor interrupted. He pulled off his shirt and Ezra whistled at him. Colby laughed. Why are you like this? I like what I like, Ezra said, grinning. Are you coming? Of course. Colby took off his tank top. Ezra turned to me. Brian? You bet. Soon we were standing with our toes curled at the edge of the deck, overlooking the pool. Mom, take a picture with my phone, Ty called over his shoulder. You boys and your foolishness, she mumbled, but she slid into place. All right, I'm ready. Wait, Ezra said. We have to jump together. He held my hand. On 3. Brian, you count it. I reached for Ty's hand on my other side. 1, I yelled. 2, 3, and we jumped.